more catches than he does.
Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?
What's up, everybody? It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show. Your 24-hour-day back from the break. Remember, you all can follow and subscribe to the KBR Sports podcast. We're going on Rabble TV, Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Oh, and make sure when you go on there, you can also comment, like, share the KBR Sports podcast to show your support. And also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at KBR_sports, where we'll do live links and show topics to tweet prior to every single show. And also, you can call in at 571-991-0566 in order to give your opinions on a KBR Sports show topic that may be getting discussed live on the show. Alright, so let's jump into this Colin Kaepernick conversation, where it's obviously Colin's still without a job ever since opting out of his contract, the remaining year he had on his deal, $12 million that he had on his deal with the San Francisco 49ers. And now it's been rumored he was linked to teams like the Seattle Seahawks. Now he's being linked to the Baltimore Ravens, who just released David Orlson, I believe. I apologize, I'm mispronouncing his name, but he's been connected to guys in that ilk. So now when we're looking at it, now, I mean, Colin, it seems like what a popular trend that's been going on with Colin is that people will bring him up. They say how he looks good, how they'd be willing to bring him onto their team, but then nobody actually ends up ever signing Colin Kaepernick. But then they go different. Like, I think the Ravens signed a guy that played in the Arena Football League, a guy that played at the most recent guy they signed played at Liberty. Guys like Austin Davis and other players were being signed, but prior to Colin being signed. So, I mean, Nigel, at this point, should we start thinking about the fact that this could be, or Colin might have played his last down in the NFL last year?
I mean, I don't know. Quarterbacks get signed all the time. It's hard to say he's played his last down as a football player. I mean, he may not get signed this offseason, he get signed next offseason. Or he may get signed in the middle of the season when somebody goes down. It's tough to say. He may have played his last down as a quarterback. Sure, he might have. I don't know.
Well, if you were to say, if you had to lean one way or the other, which way would you lean?
No, probably not.
You say he might
get
another chance.
Quarterback is it's a small market that has to be filled. I mean, there's not that many quarterbacks who are actually good that can come in and play a game for you. And while Colin wasn't great last year, he was still okay.
Yes.
Well, he wasn't awful. So I mean, I think he'll get a chance.
But that's the weird thing, though, because you say he wasn't awful, but don't you think, in realizing that those other teams, when they sign worse quarterbacks, and they still pick those quarterbacks over Colin?
But, I mean, it's just like the Tebow effect. You're gonna it's gonna be a circus when he comes in.
Yeah.
And so the question is, do you want to deal with the do you want to deal with that circus, or you just want to be like, we'll take a guy who may be worse, but we just don't have to deal with it.
That's I think a point that a lot of people are missing in this is that, yeah, Colin's a better quarterback than most of these guys that are getting signed. But the only problem is, if you just look at Colin, like, it'll be ignorant and negligent to act like Colin's protest has no effect on him not being signed as of this moment. Like, there are people trying to make the case it's just a football matter. It's not just a football matter, because everybody says that, Colin doesn't suit our system, Colin doesn't suit this. But there are worse guys playing that you are signing that might not fit your system either. So Colin is a guy that he fit in a Chip Kelly system, and Chip Kelly's system wasn't made for Nick Foles, and Nick Foles made it look great as well. So I believe Colin could at least adjust to some degree in a system. But it's like, teams aren't even giving him a snuff, which is the weird point about it. So for me, it's like, I'm not going to be ignorant enough to believe that his protest has nothing to do with it. But I'm also not going to be negligent enough to act like his play on the field has nothing to do with it. Because while Colin did, I think his touchdown to interception ratio, I think he had about 13 touchdowns to about 7 interceptions or so. But sorry if I'm misquoting that. But the San Francisco 49ers didn't win many games last year. But I mean, they weren't a good team overall. So it wasn't really an expectation for them to really come out and really ball like that. But in terms of what Colin would bring to a team, he would bring a circus with him. I mean, whatever team he would go to, he would bring a circus with him. Like, even the Ravens, it came to a point where they had to go to Ray Lewis. Like, they went and consulted Ray Lewis in terms of what they should do, how they feel like the public in Baltimore would feel receptive of him if they signed Colin, how they would feel. Because, I mean, Baltimore is where initially those riots were going down after a lot of the police violence happened there. So then you're looking at it in retrospect with how Joe Flacco said he thinks Colin would be a good fit.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
You said he threw 13 touchdowns and 7 picks?
Yes.
You would be dead wrong.
I knew I was somewhere. I was off.
You were way off. He threw 16 touchdowns to 4 picks.
I knew it was a pick. That number was 4, but I was like, it sounds too good to be true. But okay, so more credit to Colin. 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So for a guy that had a season like that, and then a lot of people will say his numbers were inflated because of the Chip Kelly system. But then a lot of the same people were criticizing the Chip Kelly system, saying that it doesn't work in NFL. It won't lead to winning. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers didn't win. If he was able to still play in a system that the majority of the consensus of NFL analysts said doesn't work, then that should be credit to Colin to some degree. I mean, Colin has regressed heavily in the years since he went to the Super Bowl. But I mean, I don't believe that a guy that has still shown that he can still produce on some level will never get a chance, will never get another chance in the NFL. But I mean, but Nigel, when we're sitting in this situation, what team could we actually see giving him that chance though?
Baltimore. Buffalo. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Short list.
I mean, who do you think?
I think there's a lot of teams that need backup quarterbacks. I mean, we saw with the Cowboys when they got hurt in a situation. I thought the Seahawks would have been a good destination for him, honestly. And that I thought because of the system they run with Russell Wilson, with a mobile quarterback, I thought they would have been a good destination. I don't think Dallas would really fit for him, really, especially because of the climate in Dallas. I thought that obviously Baltimore. I thought he should have opted in with San Francisco. Also, I think there's another Bay Area team, Kansas City. I thought Kansas City would have been an interesting place for him to play at. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think Colin still has some juice in him to play. But I just think that people should be more realistic with how they're perceiving it. The people that are saying that it's all just football, be real with yourselves. It's not just the football aspect of it that's keeping him out of the game. Definitely his political stance and his protest is playing a role in him not getting an NFL job, even though he's already came out and said it had nothing to do with the military. Then there's also those who are just saying that it's all political. It's not like he was I guess it's just a risk reward thing. For what you're getting on what you get in production is it worth what you're getting in the circus? You get what I'm saying? Nigel?
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna keep going.
No. I was pretty much saying that like a guy like who's another dude that had like a huge circus with him?
Tim Tebow did. Tim Tebow still has this huge circus.
But I'm saying like that's still currently playing, that like still has an NFL job.
Nobody. Pac-Man
Jones.
Nobody else really has a big circus like that. Nobody's outlandish like Zeke, I guess.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott. See, a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, when you run your risk reward with that guy, you're like, okay, we're getting a lot more production on the back end versus whatever flack we're going to take on the front end for his for what he does. And he adds so many wins to our team that whatever we're getting hits in terms of fans and everything else, it doesn't really matter. And I think Colin just comes to that point where when you measure it, it doesn't weigh out that he's a bigger reward than the risk for most teams. All right, y'all. So we're going to transition to our next topic. We're going to talk about Tracy McGrady and his comments about the NBA Hall of Fame and NBA championship rings. You might be surprised to hear what he had to say. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show, your 24-hour day. Stay tuned, y'all.